You've built something, maybe a home, a career, a rental property or two, and an investment portfolio. You've done everything you were supposed to do, and yet, retirement still feels uncertain. And it's not because you've done anything wrong, and it's probably not even because the numbers don't add up, but it's because somewhere along the way, nobody's actually sat you down and asked you the most important question. And that's, what is this actually for? And that's what this channel is about. Okay, here's something I want you to understand. The traditional financial industry here in Canada, the big banks, the big investment firms, and most of the advisors you probably already met with, none of that was built to help you find clarity. It was specifically built to move product. Every time someone buys, someone sells. Every transaction generates a fee. And this entire system has a quiet but powerful incentive to keep you engaged, to keep you uncertain, and to keep you wanting more. Because a client who feels settled and clear doesn't generate the same activity as someone who is uncertain or is chasing returns. And I'm not saying that the people inside the system are bad. Let me be clear. I'm saying that the system itself was never designed from the beginning to ask you what your money is actually for. And most Canadians have never even had that conversation, not once in their entire financial lives. So if you've ever felt like financial advice was being sold to you rather than designed for you, you are not imagining it. I want to tell you a little bit about how I got here because I think that's important. For the first 5 years of my professional life, I was a professional athlete here in Canada. And I want to be clear about what that meant. It means that I got paid just enough money to cover my rent and my food. In return, you get to travel the world, you get to compete on the highest levels, and you get to spend your days doing something that you love. Another way of saying this was I was broke, but I was completely fulfilled. Then I got injured, and what most athletes have to go through is to figure out what comes next. I built a home maintenance company from scratch, started making more money than I've ever seen in my life, and new worlds began to open up. Business, investing, tax strategies, and the financial industry, and it was really exciting. But something was wrong. The success was real. The money was all real. And I was miserable. I remember the moment it became impossible to ignore because someone asked me a simple but powerful question. They said, on a scale of 1 to 0, are you happy? And my answer was 0. I had more money than I knew what to do with. I had a growing business. I had everything I was supposed to want. And the honest answer to that question was 0. I wanted to go back to being broke and playing rugby because at least then I was happy. And that was something I wrestled with for a long time because money wasn't supposed to be the problem. Money was supposed to be the solution, or at least that's what we're told. So if I had all the money that I needed and I still felt like this, what had gone wrong? What I eventually came to understand, and probably took me a little bit longer than I'd like to admit to figure this out, is that the money wasn't the problem. At this point, I had spent the better part of a decade just focusing on building and accumulating and doing exactly what we're told that we're supposed to do. And then I had completely lost touch with what I actually valued, and what mattered to me, and what I was trying to do with my time. Money was a tool, but I had no idea what I was trying to build with it. I eventually sold this company and transitioned into providing financial planning services, going deeper to understand the system and better understand how I can help other people make this realization. And here's what I've learned from sitting across from hundreds of different clients who are all facing a very similar type of tension as they're looking at crossing a transition like retirement. And these are people who have built significant wealth, and we're standing at that stage of retirement. And I've done this enough time now where the math of retirement is not the hard part. I can run those numbers in my sleep. The hard part, the part that nobody is helping people with, is that clarity. Understanding what you actually want your life to look like, what your money is genuinely for, and what matters enough to build a retirement around. Because without that clarity, no spreadsheet in the world is gonna make you feel okay. But with that clarity, even in the middle of market volatility, and even without a perfect plan, the decisions get dramatically easier because you know what you're deciding towards. And that experience, going from fulfilled to broke, to successful and lost, to finally understanding what money was actually for in my own life, is what eventually led me to leave the corporate financial world and build Sparrow Financial. Because what I kept seeing year after year in the industry was smart, hardworking people like you being given technically correct advice that missed the most important question entirely. People were being told what to do with their money, but nobody was helping them understand what their money was for. And I believe that unless my advice is in service to your values, it's going to be bad advice. So I wrote From Real Estate to Retirement, and now I'm building this channel. Not to give you generic financial advice, and not to tell you what to do with your RSPs, there's enough of that out there, but to ask you better questions and to help you think more clearly about one of the most important financial transitions of your life. Every episode on this channel will be built around a question your current advisor probably isn't asking about your property, about your income, about your legacy, and about what you actually want the second half of your life to look like. If what I've shared in this video resonates with you, or if you've ever felt like financial advice you were getting, well, might be technically sound, somehow misses the point, this channel is built for you. New episodes every week, real estate strategies, retirement income strategies, estate planning, and the psychology behind these financial decisions. So if you want to think differently about retirement, subscribe. I'd love to have you here.